The champion selection should be running very, very shortly. So not everybody has champion selections. So I am having a quick look at the admins. And we may be able to jump into a Fnatic game after this one, assuming, of course, Fnatic win. So stick with us. We're going to be here for quite a few more hours. Let everybody know what's going on. Everybody know that the games are happening. You can see 4Kings busy asking aAa if they're ready to go. So hopefully this match will be underway very, very shortly. At least that's what I'm hoping for. For everybody that's wondering, we are currently the second highest stream at the moment. 9,000 viewers. And SK Ocelot's the only one that's beating us. Go get more viewers. Bring them here. Bring them to watch. So we do
take them from Ocelot.
There we go. Let's steal them from Ocelot. Steal them from Ocelot. So we are into the bans and picks. Not a bad break, Sote. Did you get some munchies or something to drink?
I did. I got some tea, so I'll be ready to go. Ready to keep on rolling. Some nice green tea, healthy, delicious, and got some caffeine in it.
Sweet, sweet, sweet. So, bans and picks. On the left-hand side, you will see 4Kings, and they immediately remove Shen, followed up by a Nautilus ban. I like that. Nautilus, very, very strong side. Champion, rather.
Oh my goodness. I have this theory that any champion that Zyphorus releases is incredibly overpowered, and then people bring up Renekton, which happens to be like one of 7 champions that he creates that wasn't overpowered to release, but he's still pretty strong, so...
Yeah, very, very true. So, very fast bans coming out. Ken and Morgana Ari. I don't know how to play Renekton. I suck with him. I can't manage his Fury. I just can't get the abilities comboed correctly. My brain just can't do it.
Oh, I'm with you. I am absolutely terrible at him. I don't understand. And I actually know Wicked has been playing him a little bit more, and some people on the US servers have been playing him. I mean, he's a good top laner. He is very skill-based in the sense that a lot of matchups are kind of just iffy back and forth as to whether he'll win them or not, just depending on whether he lands enough of his combinations or gets some gank assistance. But I've always felt that he doesn't fall off late game as much as people say. He does certainly fall off a lot like a lot of other bruisers, but I think the statements about his falling off are a little bit over-exaggerated because he can still blow up carries pretty darn fast.
Yeah, especially if he's able to put 5 or so points into that Ruthless, I think it's Ruthless Predator, get up the Fury, and then it hits, 3 times then once the Fury proc activates on it. It hits so hard, and the fact that it's physical, the early to mid-game damage with some armor penetration is just immense on that particular champion.
Right.
So,
Certainly is.
Have a look at the lock-in so far. Soraka instantly locked in for 4K. Not revealing their hand, not revealing any carries or anything like that. So, safe pick. Followed up by Blitzcrank, which could be roam, could be jungle, could be support. I mean, it's going to be support, but we watched a game...
could it be AP?
Yeah, it could be AP. I streamed a game of alternate attacks a little while ago, about 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, for a Go for LOL Cup. And they played a double jungle. They had Lee Sin and they had Blitzcrank. But Blitzcrank was playing the old, like a roaming position, like Alistair used to play about a year and a half ago. Mm-hmm. And it was so fantastic. Every single time the Boots 5 Blitzcrank moved around anywhere, threw on that overdrive, landed a rocket grab, and that was it. People died instantaneously. It was very exciting to watch.
That is exciting. Speaking of unusual strategies, one thing I've seen is the double support meta, which is kind of the same. It's a double, well, it's not a double jungle. The way I saw it come to existence, which was pretty crazy, was a Karthus middle with Smite and an Alistar who would roam around and help him tank jungle creeps, but Karthus would get all of the creeps. You get Wolves, Rays, Blue buff, and Alistar would just kind of hang around middle, gank middle, just run around, heal Karthus up every now and again, and it turned out it worked out pretty well. Karthus had 100 more farm than their opposition's middle, and their opposition's middle was Soraka, who generally has a pretty good laning phase. But back into these picks and bans, you said Soraka very safe pick, and I agree, a safe pick, although I feel like if there's a support that counters Soraka right now, it used to be Sona would counter her pretty well. I feel like Blitzcrank is the one, because yes, Soraka has great sustain, but Blitzcrank makes kills happen.
Yeah, it is true. It is true, especially when you consider the rocket grab into the silence, whether it's static field or whatever. So, shut down that heal. Even if you only get one heal off, the silence lasts for I think a second and a half, 2 seconds. Completely negates wish, summoner spells, everything along those lines. But of course, it is subject to landing that skill shot.
Right, indeed. Well, it is I mean, you do certainly want to land the skill shot as Blitzcrank, but another way is just to overdrive up to people, and if they're not careful, then you can catch them with that little knock up, that power fist, and then you can get them as they're running away with your hook. So that's also another strategy here. We do see a interesting team from 4K. I'm not a big fan of it, but I'll go into that a little bit later. How do you like the teams? Who do you think is going to be the AP for AAA over here?
Well, AAA, they're going to be coming up against an Anivia, and they've got a lot of sort of single target. You've got AoE from Graves, you've got some AoE from Blitzcrank, but most of the damage from Lee Sin, Jax, whatever it is, focused on single target champions. So I wouldn't be surprised maybe to see the likes of a Rise. You could even potentially see... No, you can't see Ari because she's been banned. I'm not certain who they're going to be locking in, but the one thing that I find interesting is you're going to have now a Urgot Soraka bot lane, so that's going to be Acid Hunters and Corrosive Charge non-stop, over and over and over. Mundo in the jungle, Renekton in the top lane. And that's going to be either Renekton against Jax or Lee Sin, and I assume it's going to be Jax. I think they'll put Lee Sin in the jungle. But a Lulu pick is quite interesting. She should be able to avoid a lot of those giant ice cubes from Anivia, compliments of the speed boost that she can get from picks. The fact that she can polymorph Anivia and then run to safety as well. I wonder if that polymorph interrupts the glacial storm as well. If it would interrupt the casting ability.
Oh, that is a good question. I would think no, but it would not surprise me. Breathing on Anivia seems to interrupt that. I used to love playing her until, there was a LeBlanc and casted and everyone silencing me, and suddenly my ultimate was always canceled prematurely. But the team from 4K over there, it looks good, but when you pick Urgot, you really are depending on other people to do a ton of damage, and I don't know that Anivia and Renekton really do enough consistent damage. But that being said, I wasn't a big fan of the late Lulu pickup either, because I feel like Lulu doesn't give you a ton of consistent damage from that AP position either. But we will see. I mean, a lot of it's going to depend on whether Blitz lands some hooks.
And it's going to be very, very difficult to actually kill off the 4K players. Urgot builds tanky, Mundo builds tanky, Renekton builds tanky, and Anivia has 2 lives. So once they actually commit to these bigger extended team fights, other than wild growth and the help picks, and maybe the safeguard from Lee Sin, Against All Authority have a lot less sort of innate tank ability. Yes, Lee Sin and Jax are going to be building fairly tanky as well, but Graves and Lulu are squishy. If the mana shield isn't available for Lonet's Blitzcrank, he's also going to go down fairly quickly as well. So we're going to have to see if 4K can drag out those team fights. I think they may stand a fairly good chance, but I'm very scared for their bottom lane. Soraka Urgot are a fairly passive bottom lane until that Corrosive Charge lands. So once Awesome Fusion lands his E, he's then going to be following it up with those Acid Hunters, Acid Hunter, Acid Hunter. But he has to push forward to stay in range, and that means Lonet's going to be able to Rocket Grab or Power Fist up in the air, and the burst from Graves may be enough to pick up some kills. So 4K going to have to play that very, very smart.
Yeah, I think we do see kind of an interesting setup here where Blitz actually has the Ignite. So carrying the Ignite on a support, not a terrible idea. I certainly like carrying Exhaust as a carry, just so when the Bruisers get on me, I can decide when to exhaust them. But we do see a little bit of a more aggressive lane with that Blitz-Grave combination. I feel like Graves is a pretty good counter to Urgot. Urgot's incredibly annoying to lane against, but Graves, because of his True Grit passive, just allows him to, maintain through a couple more of those Acid Hunters to survive just a little bit longer, and that normally does the trick. That being said, it's all going to depend on that Blitz landing hooks early game, and then late game, it's going to be a question. If Blitz lands a hook, then certainly they'll be able to burst someone down, but if they don't burst anyone down, then Soraka's going to be able to sustain them, Mundo's going to be able to sustain himself, Renekton's going to be very tanky just naturally, as is Urgot, and Anivia, of course, has her egg, so you can't really burst her down very easy either.
Now, what do you think about these team fights? You're going to have Lee Sin and Jax pretty much diving in and amongst the opponent's team. They're going to have to try to get past Renekton and Dr. Mundo, maybe try and take out Soraka, Anivia, or Urgot. But that's it. Once they leave that fight, or once they commit to a team fight, if Renekton and Mundo just push forward, they should be able to take out Lulu and Graves relatively easily because of the way the champions are. They both got the stun, the slow, and the ability to survive the burst that's going to come out from Glitterlance, Buckshot, and collateral damage. How do you play those team fights if you're against All Authority? So I'm going to have to keep an eye on that. We are into the last 15 seconds, so I'm going to throw up one quick advert break. And when we're back, 4 Kings play against All Authority for today's Dreamhack qualifier. So, adverts are up, and once again, not everybody gets them. Let's have a look what skins are going to be popping up. I love skins.
Ooh, skins are exciting. Yeah, I don't, like you were saying, you were talking about the team fight potential. And one thing is, Blitz is an incredibly good peeler if he devotes himself to peeling, and Lulu's really good at kiting. But, that being said, are they going to have enough damage to kill Renekton and Mundo as they charge forward? And my guess would be no, unless they get a little bit fed early on.
And of course, if they do commit to a fight, if they do push forward past Renekton and Dr. Mundo, you've then got the Battlecast Urgot that's going to be doing the hyperkinetic position reverser. And he's just going to swap, one particular person even closer into the team, and just, blow somebody up, make it a 4 versus 5.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of Urgot, is people don't even realize, even pro players don't realize his range on that ultimate, and sometimes get a little bit caught out of position by it, especially a flash ultimate from him if he builds full tank. And now I'm interested to see how he's built, because the US style of building him often is a couple Doran's rings. A lot of people still build Manamune on him, but he's probably not going to need that with a Soraka in his pocket. So will he go the full tank build, like Frozen Heart, Brutalizer, GA, which I first saw from M5, or is he going to go a little bit more damage oriented? And we might see a little bit of fun here as aAa heading towards that bottom brush.
This is so scary for Awesome Fusion. If he doesn't dodge this, that's going to be first blood. He flashes to the right, gets out of range, now takes 1 or 2 turrets. They're tanking this. Soaz does take a bunch of damage, but Summoner Heal is going to keep him alive. Or was that Summoner Heal from Awesome Fusion? Yeah, so that was Awesome Fusion. Wow, great flash from Awesome, but not enough from the very, very committed aAa.
Well, I mean, potentially he could have flashed away from the hook, and that would have been ideal, as he would not have been pulled back, he would have been safe. But yeah, even getting hooked, he almost got away there, as there wasn't any CC to follow up on it, really. The Glitter Lance from Lulu did miss, but, a nice early lead there, 600 gold, which is of course just the 400 gold, and I think 59% of it goes into an assist pot, which everyone shares in.
And every single member of Against All Authority picks up an assist as well. So huge play to kick that off. Lulu gets that gold advantage very early on, goes into lane with a Doran's Ring and Boots and Pots. That might be enough to give her the advantage in this early game against Anivia.
I think she already had a pretty significant advantage against Anivia, so we'll see if she's able to take even more advantage of it because of this. Anivia, being a nice AP middle, also is already down 2/3 of her mana, so that's kind of an interesting start. I mean, it normally happens, but Lulu, on the other hand, didn't have to pull, so is at full mana, and we'll see how aggressive they are willing to go.
And also, take a look at the items now for aAa. Everybody picks up that bonus gold. From the first blood, it was enough for them to pick up a ward each. Ward on Blitzcrank, Ward on Graves, Ward on Lee Sin. So, huge advantage. That early map awareness and map vision. And look at this in the bottom lane. 4K Stork almost walking into some trouble. Now, Lonet's moving forward. Let's see if this rocket grab lands. Almost dodged. No power fist to knock him up, though. And really want to put pressure onto Awesome Fusion in that bottom lane.
Right, and it's a good idea to put pressure on those early levels, because until level 3, Soraka's sustain capacity is actually very low. Her heal is only about 70, I believe. It is, exactly 70, and she's not running any AP to add to that either. So 70 is not a very significant amount. That being said, Urgot is back to full life to use a potion too, I believe.
So great start for AAA at the moment. And we've already got a 600 gold lead. In the lanes, lots of aggression. And I think Lonet's Blitzcrank, he started off well. He's landed 2 for 2 as far as the rocket grabs go. And if he can keep that up, especially once a bit more levels get applied to Graves, he may be able to increase the burst that can go out once he gets Power Fist and Overdrive and things like that as well.
Right, and Exhaust will be coming off cooldown relatively soon, but Blitzcrank does still have Ignite. So I mean, potentially the next pull could be deadly especially if they get a land on Soraka, who doesn't have her own heal as a summoner spell. Of course, has Astral Blessing.
What I like about that Ignite pick as well, considering they're in lane against Soraka, is the fact that the second the rocket grab lands, Lonet's going to be able to throw that Ignite down to mitigate the healing. I don't think he's going to be saving it for the last second to pick up a kill. I think it's the primarily to negate the Astral Blessing, negate the Summoner heal that's on Awesome Fusion, and just secure the kill for Graves. I mean, look at this pressure now at the moment. Lynette has used his Rocket Grab, has used his Power Fist, but now that that's on cooldown, Samwise 12 does have to fall back after eating a couple Acid Hunters to the face.
Right, and you kind of saw a little tutorial on how to play Blitzcrank there. He ran up to Urgot, and Urgot had to decide, okay, well, I have to either run straight backwards. There is a gank going on up top. It looks like Renekton's going to be okay. He either has to run straight backwards or get hit by a Power Fist. So, of course, he runs straight backwards and then lines up for an easy pull. So another good pull by Lynette. Actually, they kind of came out worse for wear in that fight. But the other thing about Ignite is this actually makes more sense to use Ignite at the beginning of a fight, whether you're trying to pick up the kill or not, because you generally get that added bonus from the Ignite Mastery. Ooh, a little bit of excitement mid lane, but everyone gets out scot-free. But yeah, using Ignite at the middle of the fight, of course, decreases that healing from a lot of champions and gives you that extra 5 AP and AD if you're running it in offense.
The gold graph sitting at 500 difference right now. Most of the pots have been used on the side of aAA. And at the moment, there's lots of aggression all the way around, but only that first blood kill is the only thing that has managed to be concluded right now. Lynette, I'm keeping an eye on the way he's leveling up his Blitzcrank, because I'd like to see what skills he deems as most important. And he's put 2 points into Rocket Grab, so going for that burst, 1 into the Overdrive, and then 1 into the Power Fist. So I'll keep a close eye on that as they start to level it up further.
Yeah, that's a little unusual. Normally I see Power Fist being maximized first over all else. So interesting to see 2 points in Rocket Grab. Of course, the idea in leveling up Power Fist is you can use it twice in one fight. If you initiate with Power Fist, then pull, and then eventually you can do another pull or another Power Fist after the fight has gone on for a few seconds. But of course, yeah, the burst from leveling up Rocket Grab is beneficial as well. We do see Jax might be in a little bit of trouble top lane. Does have flash up.
I'm going to have to see Knucklehead. He's going to be moving. There goes the exhaust. Lands a cleaver in the black. And the burning agony ticking away. Baron Panda manages to pick up that last hit. So a counter kill for 4K and a very, very well executed one. Never at risk of Jax getting away. He burned the Leap Strike and the Flash, only to be exhausted and effectively rooted in place.
Yeah, I mean, had he flashed more towards the top of the lane and avoided the exhaust, he probably could have got away. But even after his flash and leap strike, he was still in range of that exhaust, so there was no chance. Obviously, those cleavers are a lot easier to hit once the opposition is already slowed down. So interesting there. I mean, it is only a 400 gold difference here. So really, I think the farming is about even so far. Urgot is going back, picking up that Brutalizer. That'll make him a little bit more scary in lane, but I don't know that he's actually going to dominate that lane. Has been holding even with Graves throughout the entirety of this laning phase, and it was kind of a situation where we really thought Graves, Blitzcrank were going to be able to dominate.
Sweegirl now, he manages to dodge the first Infected Cleaver. He put the counter attack down, has actually put a lot of damage onto Knucklehead. Now all of a sudden, Soaz jumps up there. Sweegirl still pushing down. Knucklehead's taken so much damage, but he does manage to get away alive. Sweegirl's the first one to go down now. Soaz is trying to put some hurting down to Baron Panda. Places a ward, uses that safeguard to jump to safety. Liumi now is the next one trying to move forward, but eats a cleaver to the face. The Q lands from Soaz. Wild Growth knocks him up, and all of a sudden, the Crocodile might be in trouble. Super low. Soaz fail flashes. There goes the safeguard. Igniting Glitter Lance will conclude the kill. It actually does get triggered to Soaz, and now all of a sudden, Liumi's the one that might be in trouble.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, she would have been in trouble, except Anivia got egged immediately thereafter, and somehow Blitzcrank and Soraka are in top lane. How did that happen? What are they doing up there? But they are up there, and now both teams, of course, really want to secure this blue buff. I don't think either team knows that the support is there, though. Exhaust
now goes down onto Soaz. He's been hurt a lot. They pull Dr. Mundo backwards. That means the Burning Agony is going to be ticking. Almost enough to pick up the kill, but one last auto attack from Anivia actually closes it out. 3-3 the kills, and now Awesome Fusion, he wants to take on Samwise.
Oh dear. Yeah, looks like they're going to both back off there. But that was pretty crazy. It's a good day to be an AP carry, bad day to be a jungler. They both died. Both AP carries picking up a kill, and Anivia's very